Leon Edwards says he got tired against Belal Muhammad at UFC 304. What does this mean? Why is he making this excuse? And is his excuse valid as a reason why he lost the fight? Well, let's find out. What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. You're watching Nwadei MMA, where I give you my thoughts, but more importantly, ask for you guys' thoughts, as you guys are the MMA community, and there's always something going down in the community. And today we're going to be talking about UFC 304's main event between Belal, remember the name, Muhammad versus Leon Rocky Edwards. The rematch, the first fight between them ended in an eye poke. It was a no contest. Belal Muhammad ended up not getting his rematch up until now, which is years later at UFC 304. And at UFC 304, the fight ended in a unanimous decision victory for Belal Muhammad. And before we get into Leon Edwards' excuse for why the fight played out the way it did, first let's talk about the fight, right? The first round was actually pretty close, going back and forth. I think two judges gave it to Belal Muhammad, one gave it to Leon Edwards. The second fight, I believe, was unanimously in favor of Belal Muhammad. Third round, unanimously in favor of Leon Edwards. Both exchanging back takes with body locks and holding it for the rest of the round. And then we get to the fourth round, unanimously for Belal Muhammad. And then the fifth round was, it was a pretty close round. Belal Muhammad had control for most of the round. Leon landed some good shots and probably did more damage, but two judges again gave it to Belal Muhammad, while another judge gave it to Leon Edwards. And with all of this being said, the scorecards, yes, they were all over the place. It was a close fight. Yes, just because it was a unanimous decision victory doesn't mean it can't be close. It was a close fight, which is why the scorecards were the way they were. I believe that whether this was a dominant performance or a close fight, either way, there would still be this much uproar about the fight and everything happening afterwards. And I believe that's true because the MMA community and the world underestimated Belal Muhammad, and I have no idea why. I've been saying for years now, Belal Muhammad was one of the best welterweights in the world. I've been saying for however long that he deserved the title shot over Colby Covington. I think everyone kind of thought he did, and Dana looks pretty stupid now that he was saying, oh, Colby deserved it over everyone who deserved it more than him. Meanwhile, Belal Muhammad just beat Leon Edwards and Colby Covington got completely outclassed. Now, if you watched my breakdown of this fight, I was pretty clear on the fact that Belal Muhammad really wasn't losing that first fight. I was pretty clear on the fact that it was pretty even going into that eye poke. Leon landed a head kick that, yes, kind of wobbled Belal Muhammad, but landed no subsequent finishing strikes afterwards, and nothing of substance since. And actually, since that head kick, Belal Muhammad was winning the rest of the round before the eye poke. And I made it pretty clear that this was a close fight between two of the best welterweights on the planet. Now, while I felt this way, and maybe some of you guys, my subscribers, felt this way, Leon Edwards maybe didn't feel this way. Leon Edwards said he respected Belal Muhammad, but every time he was asked about Belal Muhammad, it was, he's not GSP, he's not Khabib, he's Belal. He doesn't do anything special, he's too slow, this and that. And I understand promoting a fight, but also, I don't think that anybody really makes excuses for a fight if they're not hanging their head in shame. Leon Edwards is ashamed of his performance, regardless of how close the fight actually was and how competitive it was. Because I did think that Leon still showed some heart. He still performed well. I still think that he fought his ass off. He didn't quit on himself. We saw that he had some of the most success of the fight in the fifth round. And really, I don't think there's anything to hold your head in shame for. But because he's holding his head in shame, and because he was putting down Belal Muhammad's abilities before the fight, maybe I think he feels like it's relevant for him to hang his head in shame or feel this shame and subsequently make excuses. However, before getting into the exact excuses he made, which we will do, trust me, I have a lot to say about this, but he shouldn't be hanging his head in shame, not only because of his performance, but also just given the fact that Belal Muhammad is a great fighter. He's a great fighter with good coaches, with good teammates. He was training with Khabib and Islam Makhachev, who have a relentless pursuit to training and have just a plethora of wisdom and knowledge that he can take from, and who also know Leon from having trained with him in the past. And instead of giving all of this credit, it's, oh, this was wrong with me, this is why I wasn't able to perform to the best of my abilities. I don't think that that's true. I think that we got the best Leon out there. Was he maybe a little bit more fatigued than a perfect case scenario? Yes. Was he also fighting someone who was gonna fatigue him regardless of what elevation they fought at or what time they fought at? Yes, 100%. Has he been tired and looking broken and gotten beat up in the grappling scenarios and wrestling transitions before in the past? Yes, this was nothing new that we haven't seen. The only reason I had picked Leon to win against Belal Muhammad was the fact that his championship confidence and the fact that he had been broken in the middle of a fight and had still come back to win in that Usman fight, and then had conquered that opponent again in Kamaru Usman. Even though I thought Kamaru was more hesitant that second fight, I thought that he had overcome those obstacles and that he was ready for another grinding wrestling mentality that he's went against for his last like 4 or 5 opponents. I mean, let's be real. Gunnar Nelson, Nate Diaz, Kamaru Usman twice, Colby Covington. These are all guys with grinding mentalities who are going to take you into those deep waters. And granted, every single one of those fights, his worst performances came in the 5th round. Colby Covington won that 5th round. Nate Diaz won that 5th round. Hell, Kamaru Usman was winning every round other than the first round in the first fight or in the second fight. I mean, let's not be delusional and say that this was something that we've seen that was new from Leon Edwards. Now, everyone had high hopes and high expectations, which is why this is such a big theme and why everyone's so surprised he's making excuses. Now, let's go ahead and get into these excuses. What was he talking about? Well, Leon Edwards said, I don't know what it was. I just felt tired all week. I was tired against Belal Muhammad. Now, that's not out of the ordinary when you're fighting. This is a fight. Granted, they were fighting at 5 a.m. I don't know, they had the F1 racetracks apparently right outside of their hotel, and apparently Leon actually came out and said that he had hired whatever F1 drivers use to be able to sleep at night with all the racetracks and everything, and to prevent sound from getting into the hotel, or whatever specialist he hired. He went to some crazy extent to try and prevent that from affecting his performance on Saturday night or Saturday morning. And yet he still makes the excuse that he's tired. Okay, he was tired in the first Usman fight, right? But he was still able to pull it out. He was tired in that fight. He was tired the entire fight, but was still able to win the final seconds of the fight. What does that mean? Now, let me break this down. Let me give you my thoughts on what is wrong with Leon Edwards. Now, Leon Edwards has this thing where he gets into this mode whenever the first couple of rounds are over with, or maybe in the middle of the second going into the 3rd round. He gets into this mode where he lets fatigue overtake him. This isn't uncommon between fighters. You'll see a lot of fighters have this happen to them. Really not wrestlers. You don't see it because the wrestling mentality is push through fatigue even when you are tired. And generally that's the fighting mentality as well. But Leon, being more of a technician, he tends to let the fatigue affect his style to where he becomes more reactive. He starts trying to adapt to the things going on, and he stops being first. Instead of being first, he's reacting like we just said. He's maybe waiting for his opponent to throw or engage in wrestling, which is the last thing you want to do against a wrestler, is let them dictate the pace of the fight, which is what they're already there to do. Wrestle. And not only is it a bad excuse for that reason and the fact that we've seen that before, but it's also a bad excuse because if you are claiming to be the best welterweight on the planet or one of the best fighters the best fighters are the most efficient with their energies. When do we see Kamaru Usman get tired? When do we see John Jones get tired? When do we see Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson, George St. Pierre, any of these great champions, Khabib Nurmagomedov, when do we see them get tired and it changes their style? Maybe we see them get tired, they get hit a little bit more, but does it really change their style? Think about what I'm saying for a second. You're in a fight. You're gonna be fatigued. You're gonna be hurt. You're gonna be tired. Nothing is gonna be perfect. Are you hoping that you're gonna fight at the perfect time, at the perfect elevation, at the perfect arena, with the perfect opponent every single time out? The best fighters adapt. This is just a general rule. This is not me. I love Leon Edwards. Leon Edwards, his technique, his precision, his persona, the whole headshot dead thing. It's all fucking cool to me. I love the character, but the excuses is not what I love. And not only are the best fighters most efficient and the best at fighting through that fatigue, as we just mentioned. Now, I think that this is one thing that a lot of people don't give Conor McGregor enough credit for. When he lost to Nate Diaz that first time, he didn't use an excuse, oh, I took it on short notice. Oh, this was 2 weight classes up. Everyone already knew these things. There was built-in excuses for that fight. Oh, maybe he was a bigger man, or oh, he's just a zombie. He didn't use any of these excuses. Instead, the only thing he said is, I was inefficient with my energy, because he knew that is maybe the biggest part of the fight game, is to be efficient with your energy, not to gas out. Everybody knows fatigue makes a coward of us all, right? These are just some of the things and reasons and problems I have with Leon Edwards making this excuse, because Tom Aspinall had the same situation, Paddy Pimblett, same situation. Now, granted, those all finished in the first round, right? Molly McCann, she got eaten up to the body, which should be affecting her gas tank, and yet was still able to keep pushing all 3 rounds, keep coming forward into brutal knees and body kicks. And bro, that's just not an excuse. It isn't. Now, he had an injury that they talked about pulling out for. His back was hurt. His coach came out and said on Ariel's podcast, but y'all still took the fight, which means either you don't talk about it, or it means y'all openly underestimated Belal Muhammad and thought y'all could win the fight anyways. Because why would you go into any fight knowing that you're gonna lose millions of dollars, lose the belt you worked so hard to get there for, lose to a guy you really don't want to lose to, who you've been discrediting and putting down? Obviously, you thought you were gonna win, which means it shouldn't be an excuse anyways. But guys, I want to know your thoughts about this. I want to know what you guys think about Leon Edwards' excuse against Belal Muhammad. If I'm being completely real, I just think that night was Belal's night. He was the better fighter. He was tougher, and heart and the will of a fighter took presence over the visible talent that we see. And not only that, and let's not just discredit Belal by saying that Leon's just more talented and stuff like that. Look, he looks prettier, but it's not always the prettier fighter, the prettier technique that wins and gets it done. Khabib's striking was not pretty, but it was effective for his style, which was grappling. Same thing with Belal. His boxing, he was outboxing Leon Edwards. He didn't make it a kickboxing match. He stayed in boxing range. He ate a little bit of damage from the kicks. But how many kicks did you see Leon throw? Not many, because he was smothering them. He had a beautiful game plan. He was wrestling when he needed to. Leon never made any adjustments, kept going to the same stupid ass hybrid Philly shell that you only really should be using going against a kickboxer, because you start doing this against a grappler, they're gonna shoot underneath that elbow every single time. And this is exactly what Belal did, getting his hands connected every time. And you can't make an excuse that you were tired when you arguably won the 5th round, when that was your most amount of damage that you did all fight. I hope I'm not tripping on this. I mean, I do think that he could have used that energy that he saved for that 5th round, or whatever. I don't know why it was there. I don't know if he just brought it up from nothing, but whatever energy that he saved, that he was saving sitting in that body triangle, he could have used to escape and put that same amount of damage on him in that, 4th round, 3rd round, 2nd round. I'm just saying, that could have changed the trajectory of the fight. I don't think he should be making excuses. I think he should be looking for reasons why he lost that fight, and those reasons that he would be looking for would help him get better and maybe overcome this fault that he has in his style. But let me know what you guys think on this matter. Guys, thank you for tuning into the video and watching Nwadei MMA. Don't forget to like the content if you enjoyed this video, and leave your thoughts down below in the comment section. And always, you're more than welcome to subscribe to join the Nwadei MMA family. And if you want to support my other content, I also have BJJ for MMA, which is my BJJ breakdowns. I broke down Paddy Pimblett versus Bobby Green on UFC 304 on that channel. And then I also have my complete recap on the Will versus the Way Uncensored MMA podcast. But with that being said, thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.